In this video, we delve into a contentious conflict between Patricia Winters and myself, centering around alleged violations of Homeowners Association, HOA rules, and the troubling issue of unauthorized entry into my property. This situation has escalated beyond mere disagreements over regulations, raising significant questions about the rights of homeowners and the responsibilities of HOA members. Patricia, a fellow resident, has taken it upon herself to enforce what she perceives as violations, leading to a series of confrontations that have left both parties feeling frustrated and misunderstood. The crux of the matter lies not only in the specific allegations, but also in the broader implications for all homeowners regarding their rights to privacy and security within their own homes. As we navigate through this complex scenario, it's crucial to understand the guidelines that govern HOA operations and the legal protections afforded to homeowners. This video aims to shed light on these issues, providing an engaging and informative perspective on the often overlooked dynamics of HOA governance. We will explore the nuances of homeowners' rights, emphasizing the importance of being informed about what is permissible and what constitutes an infringement. By highlighting my experience with Patricia, we hope to capture your interest and encourage you to reflect on your own rights as a homeowner. Understanding these dynamics is essential, as it empowers you to stand up for your rights and navigate potential conflicts with confidence. Whether you are currently facing similar challenges or simply want to be better prepared for any future disputes, this video will equip you with the knowledge you need. Join us as we unpack this conflict, offering insights that could prove invaluable for anyone living under an HOA. Your home should be your sanctuary, and knowing your rights is the first step in protecting that space. Upon returning home from a much-needed vacation, I was greeted by an unsettling atmosphere that immediately set my nerves on edge. As I stepped through the front door, I noticed that something felt off. The familiar scent of my home was overshadowed by an inexplicable tension in the air. My first observation was the garden gnome that had always stood proudly in my front yard, now oddly positioned at an angle that suggested it had been moved. This seemingly trivial detail sent a jolt of paranoia through me, igniting a wave of suspicion about the house sitter I had entrusted with my home during my absence. Had they been careless, or was there something more sinister at play? As I moved further inside, the feeling of unease only intensified. I began to question whether I had made the right decision in allowing someone else into my space. The thought of someone rummaging through my belongings, even if they were just a house sitter, was deeply unsettling. I felt a growing sense of violation, as if my sanctuary had been compromised. In an effort to quell my rising anxiety, I decided to review the security camera footage I had installed around my property. What I discovered was shocking. The footage revealed Patricia, my neighbor, entering my yard without permission. She had approached my home while I was away, seemingly unaware of the cameras capturing her every move. The sight of her casually strolling through my garden, adjusting the gnome, and peering into my windows was both alarming and infuriating. It became clear that my concerns were not unfounded. Patricia had crossed a line that should never have been breached. This revelation not only confirmed my suspicions, but also ignited a determination within me to address the situation head-on. The day of the confrontation arrived, and I approached the situation with a calm yet firm demeanor, determined to address Patricia about her unauthorized entry into my property. I found her tending to her garden, and as I approached, I took a deep breath, reminding myself to stay composed. I began by stating the facts, explaining that I had reviewed the security footage and was aware of her actions while I was away. I made it clear that I valued my privacy and expected my boundaries to be respected. Patricia's response was immediate and defensive. She insisted that she was merely checking on my property, claiming it was a neighborly gesture. However, her tone was laced with irritation, and I could sense the tension rising between us. She attempted to downplay the situation, arguing that I was overreacting and that her intentions were good. Yet I stood my ground, emphasizing that regardless of her intentions, her actions constituted a violation of my rights as a homeowner. Throughout the exchange, I made sure to reference the HOA rules that govern our community, highlighting the importance of adhering to these guidelines for the sake of all residents. I explained that unauthorized entry into someone's property is not just a breach of trust, but also a violation of the legal rights afforded to homeowners. This knowledge empowered me, and I could see that it caught Patricia off guard. As the confrontation unfolded, the tension was palpable, but I remained focused on the facts. I reiterated that I expected her to respect my property and that any future actions would not be taken lightly. By the end of our discussion, it was clear that I had made my stance known, And while Patricia remained defensive, I felt a sense of relief in having stood up for my rights. This confrontation was not just about my home. It was about asserting the importance of boundaries within our community. Following our confrontation, I anticipated that Patricia would reflect on her actions and perhaps reconsider her approach. However, what transpired was far from a peaceful resolution. Instead, I received a certified notice from the Homeowners Association, which Patricia had taken the liberty of sending to me. The document outlined a series of alleged violations that she claimed I had committed, and as I read through the list, I couldn't help but feel a mix of disbelief and frustration. The violations were absurd, ranging from minor landscaping issues to claims that my mailbox was not in compliance with HOA standards. It was evident that Patricia was retaliating, using the HOA as a weapon in our escalating conflict. The absurdity of the violations only fueled my determination to stand my ground. I knew that these claims were unfounded, and that they were merely a reflection of Patricia's desire to exert control over our neighborhood. This situation had transformed from a personal dispute into a full-blown war over HOA governance. It became clear that Patricia was not just defending her actions, she was intent on undermining my position as a homeowner. As the conflict escalated, I found myself navigating a treacherous landscape of HOA regulations and community politics. The stakes were high, and I realized that this was no longer just about my property or my rights. It was about the very principles of fairness and accountability within our community. I began to gather support from other residents who had witnessed Patricia's behavior, and together, we sought to address the broader implications of her actions. This battle was not just mine. It was a fight for the integrity of our neighborhood and the rights of all homeowners. The war had begun, and I was prepared to defend my home and my rights against Patricia's relentless pursuit of control. Determined to combat Patricia's HOA abuses, I embarked on a door-to-door campaign to rally my neighbors and gather testimonies about her behavior. Armed with a clipboard and a sense of purpose, I knocked on doors, introducing myself and explaining the situation. Many residents were initially hesitant, unsure of how to engage in what seemed like a personal dispute. However, as I shared my experiences and the absurdity of the violations Patricia had levied against me, I began to see a shift in their attitudes. As I spoke with my neighbors, it became increasingly clear that Patricia's actions were not isolated incidents. Several residents recounted their own experiences with her intrusive behavior, revealing a troubling pattern of overreach that extended beyond my property. From unsolicited inspections of yards to unwarranted complaints about minor infractions, Patricia had cultivated a reputation for being overly aggressive in her enforcement of HOA rules. This collective realization sparked a sense of solidarity among us, as we recognized that we were all vulnerable to her tactics. The importance of community solidarity became evident as more residents joined the conversation. We began to share our stories, documenting instances of Patricia's overreach and discussing the impact it had on our sense of security and belonging within the neighborhood. It was empowering to see neighbors who had previously felt isolated come together, united by a common goal, to stand up against the abuses of power that Patricia had wielded through the HOA. As our group grew, we decided to organize a meeting to formally address these issues with the HOA board. We understood that our strength lay in our numbers, and by presenting a united front, we could challenge Patricia's behavior and advocate for a more balanced approach to HOA governance. This newfound solidarity not only bolstered our resolve, but also reinforced the idea that together, we could reclaim our community and ensure that our rights as homeowners were respected. The emergency HOA meeting was called to order at the community center, and as I arrived, I was struck by the sheer number of residents gathered. The room was packed, buzzing with anticipation and a palpable sense of urgency. Neighbors filled every seat, and many stood along the walls, eager to voice their concerns about Patricia's recent actions and the broader issues plaguing our community. The atmosphere was charged, a mix of anxiety and determination as we prepared to confront the violations and the leadership that had allowed them to fester. As the meeting commenced, the board president outlined the agenda, but it quickly became clear that many residents were more interested in addressing the leadership issues than the specific violations at hand. A procedural motion was raised to hold elections for new board members before delving into the discussion of violations. This motion was met with enthusiastic support, as many felt that a change in leadership was essential for restoring trust and accountability within the HOA. The call for elections resonated with the crowd, and it was evident that the desire for a fresh start was a priority for everyone present. Once the motion passed, the atmosphere shifted from one of tension to one of hope and excitement. Nominations were made, and residents stepped forward to express their commitment to fostering a more transparent and fair HOA. As the votes were cast and counted, the room held its breath, and when the results were announced, a wave of relief and elation swept through the crowd. The election resulted in a complete overhaul of the board, with new members who were committed to listening to the community and prioritizing homeowners' rights. This shift in HOA leadership marked a turning point for our neighborhood. With new faces at the helm, there was a renewed sense of optimism that we could address the violations and restore a sense of community spirit. The meeting concluded with a collective commitment to work together, ensuring that our voices would be heard moving forward. Following the election results, the implications of Patricia's actions became increasingly apparent. With the new board members in place, the power dynamics within the HOA had shifted dramatically. No longer could Patricia wield her influence unchecked. The community had united to reclaim control over its governance. This newfound solidarity not only empowered residents, but also set the stage for potential legal and financial repercussions for Patricia. As the new board began to review the previous actions taken under Patricia's leadership, it became clear that her pattern of overreach could expose her to significant liability. The board was tasked with investigating her unauthorized complaints and the manner in which she had enforced HOA rules. If it was determined that she had acted outside her authority, she could face legal challenges from both the HOA and individual homeowners. Additionally, any financial penalties resulting from her actions could impact her standing within the community, potentially leading to fines or even legal fees if disputes escalated. The shift in power dynamics was palpable. Residents who had once felt intimidated by Patricia's aggressive tactics now felt emboldened to speak out. The new board was committed to transparency and accountability, fostering an environment where homeowners could voice their concerns without fear of retribution. This transformation was not just about governance. It was about restoring a sense of community and trust among neighbors. In this pivotal moment, my role in bringing about change became evident. By rallying my neighbors and advocating for their rights, I had played a crucial part in challenging the status quo. The collective effort to address Patricia's abuses had not only led to a new board, but it also instilled a sense of empowerment among residents. We had proven that when we stand together, we can effect meaningful change. As we moved forward, it was clear that accountability would be a cornerstone of our community, ensuring that no one could exploit their position again. The journey was far from over, but the path ahead was brighter, filled with the promise of a more equitable and respectful neighborhood. In this video, we explore the escalating conflict between myself and Patricia, a fellow homeowner, which highlighted the critical importance of understanding and protecting homeowners' rights within our community. What began as a personal dispute over unauthorized entry and HOA violations quickly evolved into a broader discussion about the responsibilities of HOA members and the need for accountability. We examined how Patricia's actions not only affected my sense of security, but also raised significant concerns about the governance of our neighborhood. Throughout our journey, we emphasized the necessity of community involvement in addressing HOA issues. It became clear that when residents unite and advocate for their rights, they can effect meaningful change. The recent election of a new board demonstrated the power of collective action, showcasing how a united front can challenge abuses of power and restore trust within the community. As you reflect on your own experiences with HOAs, consider the dynamics at play in your neighborhood. Are there issues that need to be addressed? Are you aware of your rights as a homeowner? Engaging with your community is essential, as it fosters a sense of solidarity and empowers residents to stand up against any overreach or unfair practices. If you found this video informative and inspiring, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel for more content on HOA issues and community advocacy. Your support helps us spread awareness about the challenges homeowners face and the importance of standing together. Don't forget to like this video and share it with friends and family who may benefit from this information. Together, we can create a more informed and engaged community, ensuring that homeowners' rights are respected and upheld. Thank you for watching, and let's continue this important conversation.